Good evening to everybody, and welcome to the dignitaries on the dais. It gives me an enormous pleasure to welcome all of you to this first Foundation Day celebration of promoting innovations for the development of individual growth. I'd like to thank Honorable Minister Sri Jainarayan Vyas for his commitment, dedication. Despite his unavailability, he has made it sure. He called us, he gave a 10-minute speech, and then he make it a point. He saw that video film also and forwarded to us. I welcome respectable Shri Ajay Nanavati ji. In fact, only one letter went to him and he responded that I am coming. That's it. I welcome my dear friend Rajiv Vastupal, respectable friend S.K. Nanda ji, and Shri Madhu Mehta ji. I appreciate the support and guidance from the Advisory Board of the Gujarat Innovation Society, all board members of GIS in last 1 year. This event takes place in an extraordinary time. High-income countries are in deep recessions. OECD economics are likely to contract. 3% GDP growth from developing countries will decline from 5.8% in 2008 to 2.1%. The implications for job losses and poverty increases in developing worlds are worrying. Despite some recent sign of stabilizations and recovery, India is still battling with the impact of the global crisis. In such an environment, business managers, government policymakers, all are searching for ways to weather the storms. While it is still too early to predict the future path of this crisis, one thing is certain. It will be the most innovative firms and economies that have the best chance to emerge earlier and stronger out of this crisis. The fiscal stimulus provides an opportunity to shape the future structure of the economy, including support for the innovative, knowledge-intensive industries and firms. In this sense, this event could not have been much timelier. Innovation, of course, is not a short-term fix. Quite the contrary, it is a continuous long-term endeavor. This is so because in today's highly globalized economy, innovation has become the key driver for growth and competitiveness in middle income and advanced economies. The capability to innovate will be increasingly a crucial determinant of the global competitiveness of nations over the coming decades. By capability of innovates, I refer to not only the capability of creating a new technologies, but also of disseminating, adapting, and adapting existing technologies. World Bank's recent study have found that developing economics tends to gain from sustained efforts in promoting technological adaptations and disseminations. In the past decades, we have made significant achievement in promoting technological innovations and productivity growth. Since mid-90s, India has scaled up its investment in the research and development. Although a latecomer compared with the technologically advanced nations, we are closing the gap between it and the international technological frontiers. Maintaining this progress will require a continuous reform in innovation system, which will need to be enterprise-led and market-based. Although we recognize that innovation is a complex matter and turning ideas and strategies into the action is a formidable challenge, but we have no option but to innovate. This celebration is a part of that process, and I have the privilege to welcome a well-represented group of participants, including government officials, both at the state and local level, policy researchers, private sector, students, and friends from the media. GIS have a strong belief that in today's fast-changing world, sharing experience and knowledge has become increasingly important. Thanks to our distinguished international and national speakers, we will have an opportunity to do just that. I wish you all a productive and successful events. Thank you very much. Friends, I have one announcement to make for this audience in the presence of these august dignitaries. Innovation Society is in process of making from Gujarat to global. That's the one change we are trying to do it on our first Foundation Day. Friends, it will be changed from Gujarat to the Global Innovation Society, and 2013 January during the Vibrant we will witness Innovatia 2013, which will be a world-class innovation symposiums. Friends, I am sure all of you will join me in this process. I have a very strong supporter to make these things happen, and that's none other than my dear friend Kamlesh Gohil, who is going to organize the Vibrant 2013s for the Gujarat government. Kamlesh Gohil, please stand up. One round of applause for Kamlesh bhai. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sunil bhai, for that wonderful speech there. Kamlesh bhai, you were a little shy there. The time I met Kamlesh bhai, I just realized that his shy nature, but that doesn't stop him from doing possibly the world's, and as I understand it from today afternoon, the world's biggest trade show which is ever going to happen, over 140,000 square meters, which is going to be Vibrant Gujarat 2013 next year, right? Yeah. A big applause, please. I think the announcement which Sri Sunil Shah made about Innovation 2013 or Gujarat Innovation Society going to be Global Innovation Society. Surely we're going to come up, we're going to show that visual towards the end of the show. But at this time, with so many things happening, there is one thing that we need to celebrate with lights. And I would request all the dignitaries on the dais to really do, as per our culture, a lamp lighting ceremony. If all of us would head towards it, please.
Changing slides for me?
I'll try and see if that is there.
Remote. There are change slides.
I doubt that, sir. But we'll have somebody help you out.
Slide change કરવા માટેના remotes and
Thank you, dignitaries. To go ahead with the program, quickly, our Honorable Minister, as we said, regrets that he's not here, but he has sent a message for us, and we'd like to play that for you, please. Pause it.
Innovation is an invention or research, while research is a focus being towards an idea which may be or not be commercially viable, and invention mixed with enterprise leads you to what we call innovation, and thereby our product which will survive in the market. There are various examples of innovations. There was a belief that in presentation, that belief was said to not by an ice cream manufacturer in this very city of Andhra, who would say that ice cream is a food, can be eaten properly, and was born an ice cream chain called Vanillas. That's an innovation. That's molding public opinion towards what you were saying. Maggie affords you a comfort, affords you a quick snack, but in the same way, another product which came by the name of Bisca, which was launched by a company nothing less than Britannia, was a failure. Rasna, on the other hand, is an innovation of providing a certain kind of product, not necessarily that the idea did not exist before Rasna was born, but then they created a product which meets with the consumer needs and satisfies the need in a manner that a client would desire. Either way, my personal belief is this intellectual property rights and patents are a great obstruction in the way of the innovation that we are talking about. For example, paracetamol can be manufactured through different processes, and India did that. And because of that, the prices also substantially came down. But now, under the new law, it is the product that is patented and not the process. So if paracetamol is patented, whatever process you can manufacture, you come under the control of the patent. This is one example. Now, if this was the case, India would not have provided a greatest service to the mankind, because we are today providing the affordable and cheapest treatment cure drugs as far as HIV is concerned to the African countries. So at times and on occasions, the patent, according to me, is a constraint, is a barrier which prevents innovation, because if there is no charm in getting into it, if it is patented and whatever you do, if the product is same, especially chemicals or pharmaceuticals, we are going to pay the royalty. There is no charm in innovating the better product through a better process because of the present intellectual property right limitations and the patent acts. I think enterprise, wherever it is, even from a smallest embryonic idea, it has gained considerably. There is an example of a manufacturer who thought differently, who thought that if you manufacture detergent without use of power, you can compete much better, because there was heavy excise burden on the detergents manufactured by with the use of power. And Nirma was born. Similar product, which was first of its kind of a detergent cake manufacturing unit, latest equipment, best factory, most modern technology, failed in the name of Day, that was promoted by a major enterprise of that time. So not necessarily that the product alone or the idea alone clicks. I still remember a case where somebody, a garage wala, invented an engine which was fitted on a tricycle, and the governor then, if I mistake not, His Excellency the Governor of Gujarat, he was seen taking round in the governorial garden, sitting in this rickshaw, and this picture was displayed on the front page of all the newspapers in Gujarat and even some of them in India. Somebody sold the idea to this fellow that now don't sell this engine design to a major enterprise like Telco or maybe any other. You be the entrepreneur and you will set up assembly unit. There will be tens of ancillary units around you. As an idea, moped was a success. But as a management point of view, the product failed because he could not manage the ancillary requirements. So sometimes the innovation which is not matched with practical support of the or the backup of the necessary product development also fails. I have yet another case to tell you, that was Girnar scooter. I am talking about the time when Bajaj had a waiting period of 15 years. It used, even an old Bajaj used to pay a premium of about 10,000 rupees. Lambretta had a waiting period of 10 years. Then came a scooter which was launched by a public sector enterprise of this day named Girnar. The booking opened, and the first day the order book was full with 10 years almost manufacturing capacity. The product failed because the servicing was not properly organized, the spares were not available, and therefore whenever you had a problem of servicing the product, you didn't have the spares availability at most of the locations, and ultimately it resulted into product failure. So innovation alone cannot take you to the ultimate height of product success as far as the consumer market is concerned. You have to match the innovation with the necessary backup of the services or the ancillaries that you may require, then it becomes a sellable, successful product idea which can blossom into a major enterprise. I think research, then invention, then innovation, and finally enterprise are the steps which ultimately lead towards a product that gets into the market and perhaps becomes a successful product. Or otherwise, yes, I have narrated